It's my pleasure to introduce Sandy Rosenberg. God, we've been friends for over 40 years. Sandy's a psychologist.
Met him before I met my wife.
That's right.
More than 40 years.
He's an existential psychologist. That's how we got to know each other, and we've been super close friends ever since. And he's been coming to the Esalen meetings for years. And of course, Sandy's also one of the teachers and supervisors at our new school for existential psychoanalysis. He's had a very colorful career. He's gotten into media, a film producer. What's that project you're doing now? The documentary on the trickster?
Oh, the dancing, I was going to mention that. That's something that's inspired by Dr. Stanley Krippner's work. Some of you may know his work. It's called dancingwiththetrickster.com.
And studying altered states.
Yeah, non-ordinary states of consciousness, shall we say. That's, and it's a website that's designed to create a community where people can come and talk about their experiences, referencing our conversation about the internet, where they can feel safe and can share them anonymously or invite people to talk with them about their experiences. And because oftentimes people who have these types of experiences are afraid to talk about them. They feel that they will be castigated and maligned, but if there's an opportunity where they can share, it's a little video sharing too. You can do a little 2-minute video, and then if you want to participate in the community, we hope it grows. It's a nonprofit thing. Then we have a number of experts who are available, who will be called, eventually ask questions and things like that. And right now we're actually working on a new AI bot with some hippie hackers out of Santa Cruz, that I hope will provide an opportunity for people to ask questions and get information about non-ordinary states of consciousness. And of course, that will train it so it'll get smarter as you ask questions. That's how that shit works. Anyhow. That's
all right. Well, so anyway, without any further delay, Sandy today is going to talk about dreams. I wish we had Roy Orbison's song to go in the background, in dreams. We'll have to rely on Sandy to sing it for us. All right, Sandy, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. I want to thank Michael for keeping this symposium afloat for all these years. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. So, Dr. Nike. So I'm going to ask you, those of you who are willing to do some work with dreams today. I'll say a little bit about this. And I've been inspired by Robert Bosnack's work. He's a colleague who wrote a number of books on dreams.
Robert Bosnack's book, A Little Course in Great Dreams, is great.
Yes. Yeah, he and I worked together, and he developed something he calls embodied imagination, which I think is a very good term. And it's derivative of the Jungian method of working with dreams called circumambulation or amplification. And I did a mashup of that with Eugene Genlin's focusing methodology. And it also interestingly ties into some of the most recent brain science and research having to do with dreams being an adaptive function of the brain, which is designed to maintain a certain kind of balance, which of course ties into yin-yang theory and the Taoist practice, but that's another story. In order to do this, though, I'm going to invite you to kind of get in touch with that kind of space inside yourself where your kind of subjectivity lives. And the thing about dreams and healing is that it's not necessarily that the dream itself is healing. It's the dream work that may be healing. Because dreams are the only part of your mind that is outside of your habitual ways of thinking. As you know from having dreams that come to you unbidden about things and places that you haven't been. Any of you have, I hope some of you had dreams you might want to work with. And, but I'm going to ask you to work with this material not only as your own dream, but to take it on as if it were your dream.
A lot of people have been having pretty crazy dreams since they got at Esalen.
Well, Esalen tends to do that to people, even when you're not taking substances to enhance them. Somebody laughed. So this work I've developed over years of working with people in dreams for a long time. I used to teach these workshops at Esalen in the 70s in San Francisco, for example. But the thing that is interesting is it always has to come back to your sense of your internal sense of self. The way you know, as the Greeks used to have a term for what was known as the naysayer. That place inside you that said yes or no to any decisions you were making. And part of the incubation process that Meyer, I think it's Adolf Meyer, the Jungian talks about in his dream about the incubation sites in Greece at Epidaurus and other places, where people would come as healing centers. And they would be put in touch with what we might call a soothsayer or, a psychotherapist. And when they would enter into the space, when Esalen was kind of inspired by something, they would be interviewed and they would be asked what their issues were, what they're going on, what do they want to explore, whatever it was. And then they would be ushered into a place where they would stay for a day or 2 or 3 or 4. They'd be brought food, water, etc. And they would remain there until they had a dream, a vision. And when they'd come out, they would then consult with this interpreter, this guide. And the goal of the guide was to listen to their dream and tell them which god or goddess was trying to speak to them about their issue, what guidance they were being given. Sound familiar? Shamans use similar technique. In order to find the material, however, the voice that's speaking to you, you have to go inward and listen and see what emerges without interpretation. Let it be what it is. It's very phenomenological. Whatever the objects are, the people are, the conversation is, the space, the environment, whatever it is, you have to allow it to be known to you. And, of course, writing it down is useful. Now, as you know, sometimes you have dreams that have, so far as you know, nothing to do with your waking life. There's no context. And these dreams, and Jung used to differentiate between big dreams and little dreams. little dreams were kind of dreams of everyday life. But, of course, you can also work with those too, because sometimes that's just the tip of the iceberg. Big dreams, and Ernst Schachtel, I believe his last name was, did a whole lot of research on this. Big dreams are the ones that you don't let you forget them. They haunt you. You know, Stanley Krippner, by the way, wrote a book about PTSD called Haunted by Combat, in which he related the soldier's experience of PTSD to being haunted. I'm sure, how many of you have had dreams that were repetitive or that haunted you? Mm-hmm. And I bet you still remember those today, don't you? Do you remember when you had them, or how old you were, or any of those kinds of information? Does it matter? How many of you have had nightmares that woke you up? Where'd that shit come from? Now, did you work with that material? Did you speak to it? You know, there's a funny story of Jung working with a woman who was relating a dream of moving through the jungle someplace and being confronted with a lion, and suddenly the lion turns into a rose, and Jung says, get the lion back, deal with the lion. One of the tricks that we play on ourselves is to try to make the unsightly, that which you don't want to look at, comfortable. Speaking of pain, dealing with pain. Now, Jung's commentary, which I think is very interestingly supported by contemporary neuroscience having to do with balance. You know, dreams are considered to be assimilative and adaptive function of the mind. So, when you're dealing, you may notice when you're dealing with a lot of stuff in your life, a lot of noise, you know, whatever's going on, you may not have many dreams then. Because you have so much, there's a lot of noise in the system, right? But when everything's just going nice and smooth, and it's all just cool, sometimes that's when you'll have an unbidden dream that emerges. Now, you know, Freud, of course, said that dreams were the royal road to the unconscious. There was a reason for him saying that. You know, he began the interpretation of dreams with a quote from the Talmud in honor of Jewish New Year. A dream left not understood is like a letter left unopened. Where's that letter coming from? Is it your, I did a lot of work with films. Some of you may have gone through that process with me, where I took movies as public dreams with private meanings, because it moved you in some way. Now, to enter into a space where you can let things emerge, how many of you have a dream that you might want to explore? Anybody? You? Yeah. Now, I'm not going to ask you to share anything unless you choose to. This is all inner work. And then I'll invite some of you, if you want to share something. But, so you're the only one, nobody else has a dream that, what about some of those dreams you said, raised your hands and said, for haunting you? Remember those?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So what if you were to take that material and work with it? I'm going to give you a way in. I'm going to use Jenwin's focusing method. And the way to do that is to try to create a space internally. And sometimes it's useful to close your eyes to do this in order to get a felt sense of where you are right now. If you allow yourself to do that, and to allow yourself to breathe, and listen to how far into you your breath goes when you inhale. And that place inside where your breath turns from in to out. You may notice how you sense yourself sitting in your chair or aligned in the current way that you are. Try to find inside you that place which we call subjectivity, that only you know how it feels there. No one else knows, just you. That place inside you where you feel uniquely yourself. Now, if you find yourself in touch with that place, you may want to go a little deeper and see what's there. What's the sense that you have? Is there a word or image that arises from that space that speaks to you in this moment? Whatever that is, let it be known to you. I'd like to invite you to allow an image from that dream experience that you referenced to come to mind, and notice how you feel in that space inside of you. What is your direct felt bodily experience in response to that image? As you notice the interplay between that image and your felt sense, does the feeling change? Does the image change in response to the feeling? Explore the new image. Explore the different feeling. See if you can allow this process to continue in the image emerging, feeling in response to that image, a new feeling emerging, a new image in response to that feeling. Allow yourself to stay with that as long as it continues to move for you. And if it doesn't, notice where it stops and stay there with that. yourself inhabit that space and that image. Notice what's there. The things, the people, the space, the environment, the objects. Look around, as if it were a lucid dream. All the things in this dream have a voice. They can speak to you if you let them. Notice what you're drawn to most. What is it that draws you? Does the feeling change? Does it deepen? When the process stops for you, and I'd like you to open your eyes and write down what your experience was and what you noticed. And be specific. You don't have to write an essay. What kind of tree was it? Car, person. How old were you? How old were they? Where were you? Was it the past? Was it the present? Was it a place you've never been before? Allow it to speak to you. Allow it to move you. Anybody need any more time? A few more minutes or anything? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. Would anybody be willing to share their experience of going this process? What did you notice? Yeah.
This is not a dream that's negative. So, okay. I'm supposed to do a salient dream that haunts you. I guess this is sort of haunting. So I think I'll just go to the experience. I was feeling myself in a cave that had an opening, a shaft of light.
Can everybody hear her, or should I?
That had an opening. With
Now I want to get you the mic, though. Where's the mic?
Oh, there it is, sorry.
I was in a cave that
Sorry.
had an opening with a shaft of light, and at a point where I made contact with the light, it became water. So the elements I was interacting with were the walls of the cave, the opening, and this rock I was on. And this is one of my most powerful dreams I've ever had. It was the most peaceful, holding, safe. But what I realized this time was that the rock and I were one. And I never realized that. I always wondered why the rock was so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. What was that like for you to be aware of that?
I don't have I guess it's what it's like is pure sensation.
Yeah, what's that feel like?
This is getting very cognitive with an experience right now, what we're doing. So I'll try to give it language.
No, just what's it feel like?
Well, sometimes feelings aren't, you can't describe them. So I'm trying to tell you what it feels like, and
Okay.
I'm saying you can't really do that sometimes. But this is where focusing is for Jimlin. It's the ... It's really implicit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say pleasure. You know, the whole dream is this opening into space that is myself, that is this cave. So pleasure, but that moment of realizing that the rock and I were one, I guess it's a little surprising, but it's as if it was always there, as it just felt like me. So it's really hard to describe what it feels like, Sandy. It felt good.
That's good.
Okay.
What does the rock say to you?
What does it say to me?
Mm-hmm. What's its voice?
It didn't have a voice. It wasn't languaged. I think, I'm giving, something's coming to me now. Maybe something like, this is you.
Mm-hmm. What's that feel like? Can you say that?
Profoundly connected. Really good. Nourishing. Restful.
Mm-hmm.
Held. Yeah.
Thanks, Evan.
Yeah.
Now, question. When you listen to Heather's image, if you took this image as your own image, what would it mean to you?
I am solid.
Say it again.
I am solid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else? Well, Mike?
Well, I was thinking about you said the word peace, and I was thinking about when it's like all the different parts fit together, and so my intellectual response was that it's an image of the self. You don't call it an image of the self, and for me it is very hard to give it words because it's about God, but it's about being part of God, and a certain perfection and infinity and outside of time, and nothing's missing and everything's okay, and you're just absorbed in this powerful totality that's profoundly reassuring, and everything has it's overwhelmingly beautiful, and everything has its perfection and wholeness.
Thanks. Anybody else? You.
I went into a dream where one of the ones that kind of stuck with me and haunted me, but not in a negative way. But I found myself getting stuck at a point at the end of it where I found it not yet possible to carry it forward. So at the end of my dream, I ended up with a coin a noble homeless man gave me, when I had a picture of a sailboat on it. So in the dream, I go back there, and I'm stuck with holding the coin and looking at it.
What kind of coin?
It was like a silver, like token kind of. So I was holding it, and that's where the dream ended for me. Then what the coin represents to me, I realized in my waking life why I couldn't kind of keep developing the dream just now when you're guiding us. Kind of matched my willingness to either carry it forward or keep going into it or not.
And what did you decide?
I'm still with the coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to save that coin?
For the time being, I do.
Okay. Well, when you're ready, you know where it is, so then you can decide to ask it questions and see what it says. And that'll be your doorway, perhaps, to a deeper understanding of what that means to you. But remember, dream doorways can be tricky. James Hillman, whose work informed Bosniak's work, used to say that the difference between being depressed and being sad was if you're hiking in the woods and the ground underneath you opens up and you're dragged down into the underworld. That's depressed. But if you're walking in the woods and you notice off to the side there's an opening to a cave, and you decide to go explore what's in the cave, that's being sad. Anybody else? Another dream? Image? Experience? Yeah. Go ahead.
This one was kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to remember. I mean, even though it was last night, so it was fresh, but
Fresh dreams. We love fresh dreams.
they're fresh, organic, raw. Yes.
That's organic, too.
Yeah. Partially, it's a little hard to remember because I had another dream after it. So
Okay.
that was interesting.
What is most in your mind that has the strongest feeling for you?
The first one. Yeah, the first one, it was it was really violent. So I was at a house party. That was the setting. And yeah, I was being attacked, but it felt like it was deserved. So like I had done something bad, and then I kind of it had this feeling of like an intimate partner grabbing at me, but I was pushing them off, and then people saw that and intervened in what was like maybe a physical confrontation between me and my partner. And then things escalated very quickly with different types of violence.
Was this place familiar to you, where this took place? Did it remind you of any place?
Yeah, it reminded me of many parties, many house parties, dark.
But this particular space that you were in, did that remind you of a place you had been in?
No, it just resembled.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And is that a place you've been in recently or
No.
a long time ago?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
How long ago?
Anywhere between 15 and 25.
Mm-hmm. So how old were you in this dream? Do you recall?
No.
Mhm. But it was something that you recall that's at least 15 years ago?
No,
25 years ago?
I, if I had to, yeah.
Ballpark.
Yeah, I would have to say it would have felt like more like maybe 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the partner you were struggling with, was that a real partner at that time or currently? Or
They had
did you know
multiple.
it was?
They had multiple faces, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like
So
that.
it not like actually like it wasn't like some sort
Male,
of
female?
fantasy creature, but it was the face would alternate between two people,
Mhm.
two previous partners, yeah.
So it was two, and you recognized them as previous partners of yours?
Yes,
Male, female,
female.
and what was their name in this dream?
There was no name.
No name.
No name.
They have a name now.
They have a name in real life, yeah.
No, I mean in your dream.
Oh no, they don't have a name.
Do you wanna
I
give-
mean,
do
as
you wanna
far
give
as
them one?
yeah, well, it was Lacey and Amara. Yeah.
Huh?
Lacey and Amara.
Lacey and Amara.
Yeah.
So how would that go together?
Like
Lacey and Amara.
as far as like,
They were two-faced.
uh-huh.
Is that a comment that they were making to you?
That, well, it was a representation. I didn't know the girl was from first person was aggressing me,
Yeah.
and then I was aggressive back, and I couldn't make out who it was,
Mhm.
but it was.
How did you feel?
Yeah, I felt like I shouldn't have. I felt like I was. It was a familiar feeling in the sense that,
You feel it right now?
yeah,
What's it feel like?
sweaty.
Huh?
Sweaty. I'm sweating.
Uh,
It feels like,
Where do you feel it?
yeah, it's a push. I mean, so chest, triceps. Yeah.
And how do you feel as you allow yourself to sense that?
And just one specific memory comes up, yeah.
What is that? If you're willing to share.
Oh no, I mean it was when I realized that that I never thought I could reach an emotional state, this type of emotional state, but it was evoked from a partner, in the sense that it was the last day I saw them.
Mhm.
We were living together, and I was walking out of the door as she was grabbing at me,
Mm.
crying, yeah, grabbing, crying, telling me not to go.
How did you feel?
I gotta get out of here. I'm out.
What's going to happen if you don't?
It would go back to a problem I can't fix.
Hmm.
It's not my problem to fix. It's, yeah.
So who's beating you up?
Those people didn't have no face I recognized. They were just kind of random people, but
Punishing you,
yeah, seemingly like
abusing you.
attacking me. Yeah, yeah, attacking me. And I was fighting back.
So what part of you were you fighting with?
What was that?
What part of you were you fighting with?
Oh, a part of if they were a representation of me.
Well, it's your dream, dude.
Oh, if I had to interpret. that.
You don't have to interpret, you have to listen to it.
Well, I feel like I was fighting because in my dream it felt like I had pushed someone off of me, and they saw that. So it was the altercations that I'm pushing this woman off of me because she's like aggressive towards me. I push her off me, and then men see that, and then they start attacking me. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like, I get it. But at the same time,
So you mean you deserved it?
it felt like that, yeah. Yeah. But I was just trying to get out the house, yeah.
You're trying to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that way in your life when you were dealing with a woman? Any woman?
Well, just in that moment, the one I just described, that was the only moment ever where I was like, where I felt like I couldn't, I had to get out there because I didn't trust my aggression, because I never had been invoked like that.
I see.
Yeah.
So you didn't trust yourself to be able to contain yourself in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to get out.
Do you feel that way often?
No, because I don't put myself in those situations.
This is a dream.
Yeah.
Won't hurt you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're having a conversation with some part of yourself that you don't trust.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time you got to know what it is about that aspect of yourself that's untrustworthy. It can be a challenging conversation.
Oh, for sure.
How are you feeling right now?
Sweaty.
I apologize.
I feel like I'm drenched right now. Like, what the?
You've been wrestling with your soul.
Yeah.
Not a bad contest to have. You know, Jacob got his name changed when he wrestled with God, you know, to Yisrael, the father of the nation of Israel. But he had to wrestle. You can't wrestle with God, can you? Fantasy. Thank you. Anybody have any responses to what he's been sharing? If you take this as your own dream, what would it mean to you? What came up in you as you were listening to him? Okay. Not your interpretations, though. Your
It's like
sense.
Fritz Perl's hot seat.
Huh?
Yeah,
What did he say?
he said the Fritz Perl's hot seat.
Yeah. No.
What came up for me was a clang association with the name Armana, and the clang association was Armada. So that what I saw in my imagined version of the dream that I just heard was a whole armada arrayed against me. Not just two people or in the crowd. It comes an armada and I'm at war. And
Interesting.
yeah,
That's good.
clang associations are great. I've learned a lot from them in dreams.
It reminds me of the Dionysian, you know, kind of him being torn apart, you know.
Well, you have to be torn apart to be shown.
That's good. So maybe he's on his quest to become a shaman. How do you feel about that? You like that?
Oh man.
Okay.
Sounds kind of woo-woo to me, but I just imagining my community hearing that, and then they'd be like, "It sounds about right," because I'm that guy in that space, but I don't.
Getting torn apart is not a fun thing to do.
Well, if you're not torn apart, how can you pull it together?
Exactly.
But also, never feeling together. How could you be torn apart?
So, as I was saying to John earlier, Heidegger says the dreadful has always already occurred. So maybe you're in the process.
I got an image of you as scattered a bit. You know, like you said, if I'm not together, I can't be torn apart. And but you also spoke to me about the dream this morning with Nita, and then again I heard it. But I just, what came up for me was this image of you, or rather a series of images of you almost transmuting and relocating the loss of control in the dance and in the community and in the terror of those people who are in your tribe, and how that is like, and this is me interpreting now, but that is like urging you towards this coherence. That's the next move, you know, that is the process, and also like how you're going to dance and how you're going to embody within these groups and embody this out of control that you used to know.
I was very curious about the sweating, and I was thinking, oh, Daniel doesn't like to have the focus on him. And then I was thinking, the dude is a street performer. I don't think that's it.
That is it, though. That is it.
That surprises me.
I hate the spotlight.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so surprising.
But that's why I do it. I do
That
it.
doesn't make any sense.
I do it. No.
That have to make sense.
Let me explain. I'll explain, but okay.
I think your dream might explain it.
It feels wet. That's what sweat is. Yeah. So I show up regardless of how I feel. So I'll give you just a real quick rundown of my street show. Is like 6 blocks from my house. Every single Thursday, I'm already thinking about not wanting to go. Friday, I have to pick up my speaker, whatever, 35 pounds or something. I'm lifting it. I have to carry it 5-6 blocks. Every step is a question of whether I should do this or not. I've done this for probably 10 years, and it has not gotten easier. So I do it because I know what it's like not to do it. And I do also know that there is enjoyment sometimes around the corner, even if there's resistance getting there. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
What came to my mind was something completely different. Was wrestling when you, not you, everyone, when they are leaving their parents' home, when they see they have to face their own life and their day by day, how would it be? And their parents' problems is not their problems. So, yeah, that's what came to my mind.
how much time do we have?
Maybe 5 minutes?
Oh, well, let me say something. Thank you very much for all the sharing, and I appreciate that. In the way of working with this material, just I want to underscore, it's very phenomenological. You stay with what presents itself to you, and you follow where it goes. So, in your dream, there are a lot of elements that, those parts of yourself that are represented all have something to say. There's the two women, there's the faces of the women, the faceless crowd, there's the parts of you that's fighting, there's the part of you that wants to flee, there's the house you want to flee from. All of these things. And in Bosniak's embodied imagination work, you can inhabit, you just go into this space that your unconscious mind has brought you that has all this information, right? This is all data, and it's done in analogical imagery. It's not digital, right? And it comes from you, from your non-habitual ways of thinking about your life in the world, right? So it's a great gift. This computer keeps working while you're sleeping, and you're not interfering and interpreting it already. So, oh, well, this means this and that. Now it's Jungian, it's Freudian, it's this, it's that. It's all bullshit. It's like, it's your dream. And you want to learn, you listen to where it wants to take you, including the parts that you don't want to go. Okay? It's very important to notice those parts, because there's a feeling there that says, I don't want to go in that door. You don't have to go in the door. You just have to be aware it's a space that you don't want to explore right now, and notice how that feels. Right? So when you're talking about dreams and healing, it's acknowledging the place that you arrive at is real for you in that moment. Doesn't mean it won't occur in another time. Another dream might bring it up. An experience in everyday life might bring it up. And you notice there's a feeling tone that somehow relates these things. We all have those kinds of experiences. Something reminds you of something else. Say it was just like that. One of the things that led me doing research on movies was that people in therapy would always come in and say, oh, did you see such and such a movie? You remember that scene where so-and-so was saying such and such to that person? It felt just like that. And that's what it felt like to you. I may not have seen the movie. I don't know if it would have felt that way. I didn't know if you remembered it. But it stuck to you. Just like the dream sticks to you. So you have to ask yourself, what's this? What's inviting me to examine myself? That's the doorway, right? Now sometimes it's good to do it with others, because other people have a different experience of your dream that you maybe don't see. And I encourage you to do it in a way that's, if you have, Jungian interpretation comes from our Freudian interpretation. We're all therapists. Everybody has this rolling around in your brain, right? That's okay. Set it aside. It's called bracketing in phenomenology. It's like, yeah, there's that too. What's more? Where does it want to go? That make sense? And I wanted to say, in a comment regarding most recent research on dreams and brain science and things like that, I like Andy Clark's book on the experiencing machine, and it's related also to some of the psychedelic research. And it's very interesting because a lot of the dream researchers for years have commented on dreams functioning as an internal balancing mechanism in the psyche. And of course, this has all been speculative. Jung, of course, talked about it in that way. Well, now you actually have really interesting information from neurological studies of brain waves and all that crap that seem to indicate there's some merit to that, that dreams serve that function in the human psyche. It's not just like an appendix, they're just there to, noise, this noise in the machine that just gets processed to get it out of the way. No. Anyhow, thank you all for sharing.